All right, and this hot topic goes to Gianni Storm. I know you're doing some fun things down in Atlanta for this Senate race. So tell us about that. And is this a truth, lie, or shenanigans?
Yes, yes. So this is a truth. I'm going to be speaking on the political shenanigans that could happen into the new year. So, as you guys know, January 5th is the end of the voting period for. Oh, I'm sorry. January 5th is the beginning or the day that you elect Senate, either Republican or Democrat uh, candidate.
Yep.
So, ever since I believe the past 2 weeks, they have been doing a lot of like surveying and canvassing in Georgia specifically, because this is where Trump is targeting, because this is where he lost. So he's kind of hired a bunch of Republican like nonprofits or volunteers. I'm not sure what how they're affiliated, but um, so what I'm doing actually is I'm working for the Democratic Party as a surveyor. So I go out into different towns in Georgia. Mainly, they're about an hour from Remy. They're about an hour from Atlanta, so they are in the country. And I'm going to these homes and surveying and asking them who they're voting for. And also a series of other questions. But I'm not like soliciting anything or trying to, debate anything. So what I've noticed is that a lot of these houses are usually unaffiliated or undecided, and that's why we're going to. Um, I've also noticed that in mainly in towns such as Snellville, Jonesboro, if you guys know these places, or in Griffin,
Those are rural
they're
areas.
heavily, yeah, they're just very country. Like they're very that open lands and stuff like that. It's very, very country over there. So a lot of them are Republican, but surprisingly, with the ones who did want to talk to me, surprisingly they are uh, either voting only his name, what's his name, Purdue. They're either only voting for him and they're not voting for the woman Loeffler, or they're undecided, or they're not voting at all. So, and I don't see anybody in those areas really voting for Democrat at all. So it's just very interesting to see the different demographic areas. And then when I did do around the Atlanta area and the surrounding like cities, it was heavily Democrat, and then a sprinkle here and there of Republicans. So I do see a shift of blue in Georgia. Like I see it. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. But a lot of people, surprisingly, that on my like when I survey people, surprisingly, a lot of people don't want to vote. Like they're they're like, no, I don't know who to vote for, and most of those people are not Caucasian. Like there are a lot of Hispanic people and some Black people as well. So yeah, that's based on my experience so far in the runoff for Senate in Georgia. But I tied this into the topic. Yeah, sorry, Liz. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, like, since you are in Georgia and you've been, embarking on this project and you've been out there talking to people, like, what do you think the pulse feels like? Like, when the elections come and they start to tally all of the votes or whatever, like, how do you think, in your gut, how do you think it's going to swing?
Let
Do you
me
think that there's going to be major changes in the Senate, or do you think it's going to be relatively much of the same?
before you answer that, Gianni, let me just help our audience out, just so they know what's going on. So just to
Yeah.
let you know, uh, in Georgia, during the election on November 4th, they did vote for Senate seats in Georgia, 2 Senate seats in Georgia, but unfortunately there weren't enough votes for them to elect someone, so they had to do what's called a runoff in Georgia for the 2 seats, and the vote happens. When does that happen, Gianni? Is it happen on the 5th or the 6th?
January 5th,
January
on the
5th.
5th.
So the vote happens in 2 days.
Tuesday.
Yep, in
On
2 days. So these seats are really important because right now there are 48 seats that are Democratic and 50 seats that are Republican. So these 2 seats, if they were to turn Democratic, would create a balance in the Senate. and it would cause Kamala Harris to be the deciding vote on all Senate votes. So it's a very important key race. So I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure everyone understood what was happening there. But go ahead, Gianni.
As,
Answer.
as the vice president, he would have that role, but also it would challenge the position of Mitch McConnell as Senate Majority Leader.
That's right. Which is, we really should try to get rid of Mitch McConnell, Trump lover. Go ahead,
But
Gianni.
to answer your question, Liz, I do feel like it's gonna swing heavier to the left. I do feel that. I feel that there are a lot of obviously Democratic affiliated nonprofits or whatever they are, volunteer groups really going ham, like in all of Georgia, and then even in those rural like country parts. So I think that yeah, in my gut feeling, I feel like it's going more to the blue, to the Democrats. I think that
Well,
they'll
also,
elect those.
I think also too because you have State Senator Kelly Loeffler, who is her seat is up for grabs in the runoff, and she has been exposed as a racist over the past few months. Most recently because she has been campaigning with the former KKK member. So there's a lot going on in Georgia. So if you all are watching down in Georgia, make sure you pay attention to what's at stake here on Tuesday. It's not necessarily issues that are swinging one way or the other versus partisanship, but it also, speaks to the fabric of the state that you live in the city that you live in, and how you view and want to shape the next 4 years in America.
So I'm sorry, Gianni, did you have a question that you wanted to ask the panel?
Yes, it was kind of based on the article that I based this off of, which was how Trump was encouraging people, mainly Republicans, to show up on January 5th in support of his like rally thing going on. So my question was, do you guys believe that this is a plan to disrupt certifying Joe Biden's win? That was kind of where I was going.
Ask that one more time. What's the question?
My question was, do you guys believe that this plan of kind of rallying in Georgia to get people up? Sorry, I have everything everywhere. He's rallying in Georgia, and he wants his Republican Party to be supported. All of this going on as far as recounts and things like that, I was just basically asking, do you guys believe this do you believe this is a plan to disrupt certifying Joe Biden's win, like
Okay.
officializing?
So you think you're asking if his rallies that he's doing down in Georgia right now are just backup
Is a
for?
ploy to,
Right. I
yeah.
understand now. Okay. Go ahead, Robbie.
It's all been a ploy. I mean, he's been saying ever since the election was really announced and coming down the pipe that if it doesn't go his way, he's calling fraud and he's not going anywhere. It's always a play with Trump. There's always something happening in the back end, whether or not it's a valid claim or not. We know there's no validity to it because it's been turned down at every legal level. But yeah, it's anything that he can do to cause as much disruption now and over the next 4 years to try to destabilize Biden and Kamala Harris's party. It is a win for Trump and his supporters. We've seen that they're not above that kind of disruption. So I don't think that the next 4 years are going to be easy, especially with this crackpot still in the sidelines. But hopefully he'll get taken down legally by one of so many players or by several players, and he just won't be part of the equation.
I think the obvious answer to that question is yes. Even if you think about like Kentucky, he was down for the Kentucky Governor Kemp until Kemp, went against him as it related to, the election and to votes or whatever. And so now, he's been speaking out against Kemp. I think the same thing could happen in Georgia. As long as the Republicans of Georgia are following his lead, following his agenda, going against the law of the land, going against the Constitution, then yeah, he's good. He's fine. But once they, kind of deviate off course, then, they are no longer of use to him. And so he wouldn't be rallying down there for the Republicans whose seats are up for grabs on Tuesday, if not for the fact that they have supported him thus far.
Yeah. And this will go to my topic, which is up next. But Trump is he trying to rally? I don't know that the rallies are directly related to him trying to get support for the Biden, his loss to Biden. But I think what it is he just wants, they're using him because a lot of people voted for Trump. There's the second most people in history voted for Trump. So that's a huge base of people that they're still trying to tap into to get these last few votes. I mean, I'm hoping that the fervor for Trump has dropped a bit now that he's lost. He's proven to be a loser. But he could still pull them together enough to get those wins. Because those two candidates, those Republican candidates, are pretty shady. One in particular, I forget his name. The one who won't go to the debates. I forget his name. Sorry that I don't remember his name, but yeah, one of them's really, really shady. So it's I don't know that the rallies are necessarily directly related, but indirectly, because I think they're still trying to use his influence down there.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a good.
All right. Good dog. All right. So Rupka says she talked to her dad about this today. Jacqueline Robinson said as recently as yesterday, he threatened the Georgia SOS to find over 11,000 votes. We're going to talk about that in the next segment as well.
Yeah.
Rupka says it won't be certified on the day it's supposed to happen. It takes one person. Cruz already said something. All right, so does that make her the least racist person in the room when she's with the KKK? And then Stacey Abrams said over a year ago that the demographics in Georgia were changing, younger and college educated. That would be Gianni Storm.
And again, Stacey Abrams, after she lost in her bid, to become, I believe it was governor in her state, either governor or senator. My mind is a little scatterbrained right now. But after she lost, she didn't sit back on her heels like Donald Trump and pitch a fit. What she did was went out and got the message out and implored 66,000 people. She got them to register to vote. That's one of the reasons why Georgia went blue. She got out and did the groundwork, did the grassroots work to get her message across about what was at stake in the 2020 presidential election. And so I think that, she has still been, talking to people, holding rallies, press conferences or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see what the actual numbers are on Tuesday. And if that same momentum that we saw from voters in the presidential election in November carries over to the election the runoff election on Tuesday.
Yeah, so I got the name of that senator I was talking about that's extremely shady who won't do the debates. His name is Perdue. Jacqueline Robbins, Anika.
No, Perdue was on COVID protocol because he came into contact with someone a couple of days ago who has COVID. So
I wouldn't be surprised if that's some of an excuse too.
He's on quarantine for the next couple of days.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just making up excuses so he doesn't have to talk. But yeah, that was Anika and Jacqueline Robinson gave me those names. So I appreciate that, people online. All right, good hot topic, Gianni. Let's get on to the next one.